Hi, I'm Carrie Louise Daenell, naturopathic doctor and founder of the Live Well Center.
And I'm Nancy Fitzgerald. In today's segment, we're going to talk about resolving, not managing food allergies and total digestive repair. Now, Dr. Daenell, I know that this is near and dear to your heart, and that's because for years you struggled with this. Tell me about that.
That's true. For 10 years, I struggled with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, 2 autoimmune diseases, including Graves' disease, where your thyroid goes too fast, and crippling rheumatoid arthritis. I was also struggling with food allergies, multiple chemical sensitivities, dander, pollen allergies, and eczema, which was probably worse than you can imagine. It sounds like a little thing, but eczema can be debilitating too.
Wow. Was there anything working right in your body at that point?
You know, I felt like I was too young to be that broken, and I used to be afraid of, what's my life going to be like as I get older?
Yeah. So tell me, did you ever get well, or how did your path lead you to where you are now?
You know, I tried everything over the years, and I'm kind of a type A, driven, disciplined person. And so I was wheat-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, yeast-free, soy-free, sugar-free, you name it free. And I was good at it for years. And all that seemed to happen was, with everything that I gave up, I would replace it with something maybe that I had never heard of, like quinoa or millet or something else, and then I would just become sensitive to that over time. Very frustrating, because when you work that hard, you expect to get a result, and I simply wasn't seeing that. And so as my disease continued to worsen, I was fortunate enough to be pursuing a doctorate in naturopathic medicine up in Seattle, Washington at Bastyr University. And although it was very hard to be that sick and going through medical school, I also was surrounded with good science. And at some point, I was able to put the science together behind totally and comprehensively repairing my digestive system, which, treated at the causal level, allowed the rest of my body to completely heal itself of all its other maladies.
That's awesome. I can't even imagine how hard that would have been to have lived like that. It sounds miserable. So how long were you broken?
I was broken for 10 years, and it probably took me a year to a year and a half to get my life back. But then when it was back, it was 150% get out of my way back. Bouncing off the walls, get out of my way, just want to save the world before I die well. And so I felt like I won the health lottery when I got my health back.
It seems like it would be a miracle, but it's not. It's science.
Yes, the science of the entire digestive system is known. And if you know how to match the pathology or what's broken there with the various different supportive constituents that are available in natural medicine, you can truly work at the causal level and restore that system to normal. When that system is normal, your immune system is normal, your neurological system is normal, your ability to produce energy and get away from inflammation, which we all know is terrible for your health, just becomes normal. And really, normal is optimal.
Yeah. Dr. Daenell, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Are you still taking supplements? Are you still treating your disease?
I always will take supplements because I think they have so much to offer for prevention. You know, the older we get, the more we still want our brain, we still want our energy, and we'd like to prevent all those horrible diseases. But no, I'm no longer treating this. That was a start and finish project for me just about 15 years ago, and I've been done for a very long time.
Does that blow your patients' minds to even contemplate that?
When you've walked in those moccasins, just the hope of feeling a little better is a dream. It's hard to even fantasize that you could ever be totally normal and move on.
Yeah.
So yes, they don't usually come in expecting that. It's a delightful surprise.
So let's talk about maintenance then. Is there a maintenance protocol?
You know, for people who battle ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, they would be wise to do a little something along the way to prevent flares. For everyone else, no. The caveat being celiac disease. We can repair against the damage of celiac disease, but we can't take away the fact that that person will always have to avoid gluten for the rest of their life. So for them, maintaining would be avoiding gluten.
So how does poor digestive health lead to food allergies, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, autoimmune challenges, and eczema?
Well, when the digestive system is broken, the intestinal lining, which should look like this, and be very, very picky about what gets across to the bloodstream and to the rest of your body, your liver, your immune system, etc., it looks like this. It's somewhat like a sieve, and it's a free flow, and everything gets across when it shouldn't. Unfortunately, that triggers immune reactions, which can be autoimmune and inflammatory. It also allows a lot of free radicals and toxins to go through, which really overburden the rest of your system because they're not used to seeing that and they're not equipped to deal with that kind of load. And so when you shore up the inappropriate relationship between what should be within what they call the lumen of your small intestine, where it would just go through and leave your body, you can get your life back because now you're not triggering all those other things to happen. It's truly working at the causal level.
Dr. Daenell, you are a nationally recognized expert on total digestive repair. So when somebody comes in to see you for eczema or thyroid, do they realize that you're going to be working on digestion too?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no. You know, when someone comes in with Graves' disease where their thyroid is being attacked by autoantibodies and going too fast, they think they're going to get a special thyroid herb or some kind of thing. And actually, I just say we're going to treat the gut. And they kind of look at me for a moment and think, So I have to explain everything to them. And then they really do get it. On the other hand, unfortunately, some of my patients have been around the block. They're very experienced with being ill and with being a patient. They've done a lot of reading. And so they already know that their problems all lie within the digestive system. However, they've never found anybody who can truly first acknowledge it, but then offer a real logical, sane, start and finish way of actually repairing it. And so when I start talking about it, the light bulb goes off and the relief sets in and they say, finally, somebody who gets it. I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah. And is there like an easy way to sort of explain the science behind supplements and how they support the body and repairing it?
You know, one of the principles of naturopathic medicine is doctor is teacher. I take that principle very seriously. I think that knowledge is power, and it empowers people to make informed decisions, and it also empowers people to go ahead and follow through, because that's where their success is. A bunch of false starts doesn't lead anybody to a result. And so I spend a lot of time making sure that my patients understand what's going on with their body, and then how the things work, and what our strategy is for repairing that situation so that it makes really good sense to them. And you can take biochemistry and physiology and medicine and explain it in lay terms if you want to, and I take the time to do that.
Dr. Daenell, your motto is eliminate the elimination diet. And I'm sure a lot of people who are watching me now are like, oh, what?
It's blasphemy in our profession.
Yeah. Why?
You know, a lot of patients will come in and say, I was supposed to be wheat-free and dairy-free, but I never could follow it, and they look so guilty. And I could have been better, but I didn't do it. And I say, I'm going to let you off the hook here. I did follow it to the T for years, and all I did was get sicker and sicker and lose more and more foods with every passing year. And I remember in my worst days, without even knowing the answer, thinking, what if it's not the food that's the problem? Because, you know, healthy whole food in a wide range of variety is really well tolerated by everyone else. What if the problem is the way my body interacts with that food? And instead of eliminating those foods, what if I simply eliminated the terrible way that my body looks at them? Because the food really isn't the enemy.
Explain to me, what is a food allergy?
You know, there are two types of food allergies. The first type of food allergy is an anaphylaxis. They call it a type 1 reaction. I am not talking about resolving that kind of allergy, and I make no promises about getting rid of anaphylactic reactions. If a peanut will close your throat, you need to stay away from peanuts. Yeah. Now, the other kind of food allergy is a little more insidious. It's a slow onset. You never really know what it was because it hits you hours and days later, and it's not some really immediate emergency thing like your airways closing or welts developing on your arms or sneezing. It's more like headaches and brain fogginess and abdominal pain or body discomfort. Just things that don't really make sense, that make you feel awful all the time. You don't know where it started. It never seems to end. Those are the kind of food allergies that I'm talking about. And when people do really extreme food elimination diets in the very beginning, before they start reacting to whatever they replaced it with, they will notice a lift in those symptoms. And so they realize, yes, food really does affect me this way. So what I'm talking about resolving is that slow, delayed sensitivity reaction to the variety of foods that otherwise you would think you might need to cut out, so that you can add them back into your diet and eat a full range of healthy foods and not have a reaction to it.
So let me get this straight. So my doctor tells me I need to be gluten-free, and you're saying to me, I'm going to fix you so that you can eat gluten again.
That is a good question, and I'm glad you brought it up. Now, if you have celiac disease, no, I'm sorry. You have to always avoid gluten. But, you know, while you were eating it before you knew, you created a lot of damage in your gut that for a lot of people doesn't fix itself. Once you fall below a certain threshold of broken, you limp along, better off a gluten than on it. But your system never goes back to normal because it was knocked down so far. It just doesn't have what it needs to come back up. Now, the work that I do can bring you back up to normal. But in order to maintain normal in the face of celiac, you're going to have to continue avoiding gluten. Now, there's another kind of gluten sensitivity or a wheat sensitivity that is simply a delayed reaction. Nothing to do with celiac. Those people successfully re-add wheat and dairy, gluten back into their diets very successfully.
And yay!
I know. They can play the reindeer games again, join in the social festivities. It's a big thing. Another thing that you probably wouldn't realize unless it was you. Your friends and family don't think that your food elimination diet is funny. They don't get it. Sometimes they make fun of you. Sometimes they don't believe in it. And it hurts your feelings because you know that if you try to do something, you're going to feel better. And if you don't, you might not make it through the day. And then on the flip side of that, sometimes even your physicians will look at you like they don't quite believe you. It's all in your head because, you know, they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
and
that's got to be worse than the disease almost.
It really is insult to injury, and it makes it really hard to keep going every day. And so years later, 15 years later, I will still be invited to a dinner party, and I'll get that sigh and that annoyance. Like that, it goes like this. Now, what can't you eat again? I mean, it's like they take it personally.
Yeah.
I don't know why people care what you eat, but they seem to.
I know.
And
it's
so,
like peer pressure. Come on, just have
the wheat.
Have the dairy. Have a piece of cheese.
And so to be able to just eat freely, and I say join in the reindeer games, it's really socially enabling. It's wonderful to just join in and feel like you're just a person.
Many traditional docs will say there's no cure, we'll just manage your disease, and what you're saying is that you can not only resolve it, you can cure it. Tell me about that.
You know, they're telling the truth. Within the confines of conventional medicine, with prescription medications or surgery, there really isn't a cure for eczema, autoimmune diseases, food allergies, allergies even in general. Chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, they're famous for, you could go to these support group meetings and the party line is, what you need to do, honey, is learn how to live with the pain and the fatigue and psychologically not let that get you down. That's easier said than done. Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, I've been practicing for 12 years. Obviously, this is a huge area of passion for me. I've worked with hundreds of patients in this capacity, and we have our life back, and we really are cured. So we don't believe in that you can't be cured. It's just that you're going to have to look outside the box a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds awesome. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are very excited to hear you say that. Now, with your plan, it takes time, it takes follow-through, and it takes a lot of supplements. That sounds like a lot of work and a lot of money.
That's true. Most people that come to see me have been around the block. They've been to Mayo, they've been to Canyon Ranch, New York, California, all the fancy docs. They've tried everything they've read about on the internet, any book they could buy, and it's not a surprise to them. That will take usually 6 months to 2 years for most people, and they're spending several $100s a month on supplements, and that is a lot of supplements to swallow. But honestly, the protocol is designed to treat every aspect of the organ system all day, every day, at the same time, over time, so none of it can get away from us, to make it permanent. And that's where the real results come in. So I'm not simply using supplements to make you feel a little bit better while you're broken. I'm trying to comprehensively repair the system so the body can heal itself. And I liken that to if you couldn't walk and someone bought you crutches, you would love to have those crutches because you could get around. But what if someone came in and said, hey, I know how to help you walk again without crutches? That's the better fix. And so that's the level we're working at. It's big. You really have to make an investment in money and time and commitment. And these patients, that's not foreign to them. They know that. They've already done that with things that don't work. And so really, that's what it takes for anyone who doesn't understand that. I don't want to sneak up on them. You know, I don't want them to think, oh, this is a quick fix or a cheap fix. It really isn't. I don't know any other way to do this work without doing it comprehensively and treat at the causal level. These patients are so far beyond a Band-Aid, whether it's natural or conventional, it just doesn't matter. And I don't fool around with that. I go ahead and treat at the causal level for total resolution.
Dr. Daenell, let's talk about some of your digestive repair patients. What are they like?
You know, they're a complicated and interesting bunch, and they will break your heart, but they'll inspire you at the same time. They'll break your heart because if you really listen to them, they usually have a very long story, and it's a story of struggle and courage against all odds. And the details of their suffering vary patient to patient. but they're more than anybody would really voluntarily ever want to endure for a day, let alone a year or 10 years or 3 decades. Now, on the flip side of that, they are the most tenacious, hard-trying, responsible people that you will ever meet. They don't give up. They keep turning over every stone. The amount of work that they have to do to get through every day would blow your mind. And so you're inspired by the effort. And I believe them, and I get it, because I walked in those moccasins. And so they are people who truly take responsibility for their health, like very few other people ever will know they have to do. And so a lot of respect goes out to those people. And unfortunately, on the other hand, they have been met within care providers' practices, whether they be conventional or natural, with a couple of different very discouraging situations. One might be that they simply don't believe them. And that is really heartbreaking to someone who has gone so far as to have the courage to try again, knowing that, it probably won't work, nothing ever does, and then to have that look come across the doctor's face, whether they're natural or whether they're conventional. I mean, it happens on both sides of the fence, where they don't really believe them or they think it's all in their head, and that's tough. The other look that you might get is the doctor might look like, hey, you make me feel like a failure because I don't know what to do with you, and if you could exit my office quickly, that would be really nice for all of us. And so then you know that once again, you've reached out and you're in the wrong place. And so hats off to those people. They just are so strong and so brave, and they have so little to work with because they're so broken at the same time. Sure. So they're really an amazing group of people.
Well, I can't imagine what that would be like. You're in pain. It's embarrassing. Nobody believes you that this is going on. It's all in your head. What is that like to live that life?
Unfortunately, even the people that love you, truly do love you, your friends and your family, they don't always believe you either. And after a while, kind of annoyed by the fact that you're just not bouncy and healthy. And it just hurts. And they don't mean it and they don't understand it. And thank goodness maybe they never will. But it's hard.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very hard.
You must love to just wrap your arms around those patients because you've been there.
I love it when they come in. I'm like, get on in here. It's time to get going. Yes, I can look them in the eye. I absolutely believe them. And I have a really logical, organized plan to help them get from point A to point B. So it's really fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's the happy ending.
Yeah, who doesn't want to give good news?
Yeah. So what do you say to those who have done it all and they're still so sick and they're sitting there in front of you?
Never give up. Until you've quit, you haven't failed. And I know you've tried a lot. I've tried a lot. My patients have tried a lot of times more than I even tried. But never, never give up. Keep looking. Find that perfect fit for your situation. If your body's broken, there is an answer. Not everybody knows that answer, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Dr. Daenell, I've had the privilege of talking to some of your patients who you've truly changed their lives. Let's hear from some of them.
I have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which the medical profession runs from. There's no medication to give me, and so it's all in my head. It's hell. It's very, very, very painful. I suppose the mildest issue is a lot of bloating. I'm rather rude to be around when it's flaring. But it's very, very painful. One never knows what the system is going to do, so it's kind of difficult to go out. Yeah. It was difficult to have a very comfortable life. I've had about 14 inches of my colon removed as a result of diverticulitis, which is, all the digestive issues. So I began to address this with Dr. Daenell, and she said, are you ready for the protocol? Because it's a long-term issue. And in the beginning, there were a number of supplements. I think we must have worked 18 months with things gradually getting better. After probably a total of 2 years, then she was able to say, all right, now you just do maintenance. I'm losing weight. I know. It's lovely. Oh, it's just been life-changing to work with Dr. Daenell. First of all, she's very respectful. I've been able to share with her, even from the get-go, that I had done some research, that I had a little bit of understanding, and she was willing to hear that and then build on it and help me expand that understanding. The intellect it's a beautiful mind. It really is to work with her. Yeah. And she's so caring. And so much fun. Yeah. We laugh a lot.
When I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, I was not able to sleep well. I could probably take in 5,000 calories a day and still be hungry. Just raciness, jitters. It seemed like I never slept. Graves' disease is the infection in the thyroid in terms of your autoimmune system. You can be hyperthyroid or hypothyroid. In my case, I was hyperthyroid. It would rank as one of the worst things I've ever gone through in my life, and I'm more than 50. Original consultation was scheduled for an hour. She talked to me almost an hour and 45 minutes. She wanted to know every single detail so that she could then move from there. She was able, from my blood test, to see what I was lacking, my levels, to get those all in place where I could function normally. Now I sleep well. I sleep very well. I'm able to take in a regular, normal diet and half of what I was eating. My clarity is back. I can focus longer. I can stay present in what I'm doing. I'm not on any medication, just my supplements that Dr. Daenell assigns me, but in terms of traditional medicine, blood pressure, any of those things, no, none at all, just my supplements. Very happy. I feel now that I have a balance in my life. I feel that I've gotten my life back because I was flying, just flying. It's just a raciness that you would feel all the time. Now everything is normal, and I'm very pleased.
When I came to see Dr. Daenell, I was in a lot of pain, and I had a tremendous fatigue. I was to the point that I thought I was going to have to give up my career in education. The fatigue was really becoming overwhelming, even making my legs work. I can remember getting out of the car and say, okay, legs, you gotta get out of the car and get in. The rheumatologist I went to finally diagnosed me with fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis and put me on prednisone. And, of course, I blew up like a balloon. But I also had high blood pressure. I also had thyroid problems, so I was on medications for both of those. I am off of all medications. I don't take anything.
Well, it was tough. You could tell she had a lot of pain. She wasn't depressed, but she was heading that way. She had other plans, travel, hobbies, things.
And we had to be healthy. We like to hike, you know. I couldn't even get my legs to move, much less go up a mountain. I'd never had a doctor sit down and talk to me for an hour about everything that was going on, and ever, you know. She explained to me about how my body was fighting itself. I started with her 9 years ago, and here I am. And I can do anything I want to. We can go swim with the dolphins, and I got my life back. Health is an investment. We invest our money for our retirement. We have to invest for our health the very same way, because if we don't, I wasn't going to have a life after, 50. I was going to be done. Worth every penny. I would pay more. Don't tell her that, though.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, if you'd like to learn more about digestive health, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, autoimmune challenges, allergies, and eczema, or meet with Dr. Daenell to see if she can help you and get your health back on track, give her office a call at 303-399-8050 or visit her website at drdaenell.com. Now, if you would like a CD of Dr. Daenell doing an intense lecture just on this very topic, you can call her office and get a copy, and they would be more than happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us.